StrayAllDay.com.
You're now tuned into the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day, to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there, even when the success you've expected to achieve has yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, you get a huge dose of personal initiative, which is the go-getter energy that moves any one of us, including yourself, to go and make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. And then we put all this together into a series of frameworks, approaches, insights, strategies, and techniques underneath the umbrella of one unified philosophy that is called Work on Your Game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, and welcome to the show. And today's topic is how to be in integrity with yourself. Before we get into this, I remind you all of two things really quickly. First of all, my daily motivation and Monday motivation messages guaranteed to have you focused, sharp, and on point to start your day or your week, respectively. All you got to do to get those is be a member of my texting community. It is free to join. Just text me at my number 305-384-6894. Secondly, Work on Your Game University. That's the place where I do all of my coaching. If any of you wants to work with me directly, it is inside the university that it happens. We focus on helping you perform at your highest level, do so consistently, and produce more results in your life. What I do is I take the frameworks and principles that I drew from my background as a professional athlete, and I teach them to professionals like you, entrepreneurs like you, high-level performers and ambitious people like you, how to use those tools in a business context. Go to workonyourgameuniversity.com. You can find out more about what we're doing and how you can get involved. That out the way, let's get into the topic here today, which is how to be in integrity with yourself. First of all, let's get a definition of this word integrity so that everyone knows what I'm talking about. A definition of integrity is the quality of being honest and having strong moral principles, moral uprightness. Now, the state is also the state of being whole and undivided. So what we're going to talk about here today is making sure that you are fully congruent with yourself and what you are doing and your approach in every aspect of your life that matters to you. That's what integrity means. It means everything is congruent. So if you have this going on over here, you got this over here, you got this down there, and this behind you, everything is congruent and basically working with and playing off of each other, and you don't have conflicts, incongruencies between different aspects of who you are, what you're about, and what you are doing. And as I get into explaining this, I'll make that even more clear for you. So point number one, topic once again today is how to be in integrity with yourself. Integrity is about, this is the first point, integrity is about being fully aligned in your thoughts, words, actions, and at least aiming for your outcomes. You can't control outcomes in life. We don't control all outcomes, but you do control your thoughts, words, and your actions. If you're an entrepreneur running a business, for example, like I am, there are certain ways that you think that you have control over. You control how you talk. You control the things you do every day. You don't control the results. Hey, maybe you go through a period where there are no sales coming in, or you don't like the leads that you're getting, or your ads are not working, or you got kicked off a social media platform, or one of your accounts got hacked. You can't control those outcomes, but you do control the way you think, the words you speak, and the actions that you are taking. Are those three things aligned towards the goals that you have set for yourself? If they are, then you are in congruence with yourself. If they are not, then you are out of congruence and you are out of integrity with yourself. Does everybody understand what I'm saying? So if you say that your goal is, so let's say the outcome that you want is that you're going to be in great shape 90 days from now, but your thoughts, words, or actions are saying, thoughts, words, and actions are saying, well, I don't really feel like going to the gym because it's hard. And I don't want to wake up early. And man, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get in shape in 90 days. And therefore, you're not going to the gym 5 days a week like you're supposed to. You're only going twice a week. Now, your thoughts, words, and actions are incongruent with your desired outcome. That means you are out of integrity because you said you want to do this, but your actions are not matching it. So anytime you see yourself or someone else who has a certain desired goal, and you have to know what someone's goal is in order to hold them accountable to this. So if you don't know their goal, you can't do this. But if you know someone's goal, let's use yourself as an example here, and you know that your actions and your words and your thoughts are not in alignment with that stated goal, then you are out of integrity because there's an incongruence there. That means, so what being in integrity means is that the things that you think become the things that you say, and the things that you say become the actions that you take, and the actions that you take result in the outcomes that you have desired and have aimed for. Now, while we cannot always control outcomes, as I said, you can't control circumstances in life, even though we try, you can't always do it successfully. We always control the first three. You always control your thoughts, your words, and your actions. Nobody can make you think something. Nobody can make you say anything. And for the most part, most people can't make you do anything unless you happen to be, I don't know, incarcerated or you're in a physically abusive relationship. For the most part, most of you are not there. You have control over these things 100%. So you control those. And if you are consistent and thorough with the first three, usually your outcomes start to look like what the first three are aiming towards. Doesn't mean it's going to happen overnight. It doesn't mean it happens all the time. But again, what are our aims over here at Work on Your Game? Performance, consistency, and results. So if you perform the way you're supposed to, which is a byproduct of your thoughts and your words that leads to your performance, then you will be consistent at doing the same things the same way every time, the things that work, and that will eventually produce results. That's why we have this three-step process that we're looking to help people get through. This is what we help people do when you come into our world inside of Work on Your Game University. Your outcomes will start to look like your thoughts, words, and actions. And if you are not liking the outcomes that you're getting, let's say you don't like your outcomes. I don't like the results I'm getting from this. But what we do is look at the other three pieces and we make adjustments to our formula. Simple as that. If we don't like the results that you're getting, then we need to look at how are you thinking? What are the words you're using? What are the actions that we're taking? Where do we need to make an adjustment in order to change this outcome? This is all formulaic, the way that this is done. The discipline here, folks, is the understanding that anytime we don't like the outcomes we're getting, that it's something in those other three pieces that is causing that outcome to occur. There's something in your thought process. Usually it starts in the thought process, then in the way that we speak, then in the things that we're doing that is leading to that outcome. And usually people only take one step back and they look at the actions. Okay, I'm not getting the outcome I want, let me look at the actions. This goes back to the be, do, have principle. But I've stressed to people for years that the being part is the part you actually need to focus on, not the doing part. You're not getting the outcomes that you want in your life right now. Don't focus on the doing and ask yourself, how can I do things differently? Even though you may need to do things differently. First thing to ask yourself is, what is the thought process that led to the actions that led to the outcomes? That will usually get you a better solution than just fixing the actions. Sometimes it can be many things. It can be your thoughts need to change, your words and your actions. Maybe you need to change everything, but maybe you only need to change one little thing and it'll fix everything. So the challenge here is identifying what needs to be tweaked and how much it needs to be tweaked. That's the real question. Mistakes here will only cost you more time. So you make a mistake in misdiagnosing the situation, then it's only going to cost you in time. And there's only a certain amount of time that every human has. So you can't keep paying with time for mistakes because eventually you won't have any more time to pay with. You will be time bankrupt, which is also known as death. Point number 2. Today's topic, once again, is how to be in integrity with yourself. Number 2, there's a reason why I always bring everything back to mindset here at Work on Your Game. Whether I'm talking to you about something like integrity, whether we're talking about sports, whether we're talking business, whether we're talking a social issue, doesn't matter. I always bring the conversation back to mindset for a reason. Because if you're not getting the outcomes that you want, there is something about your thought process that is leading to everything else. The thought process is the basis, is the foundation. So if you don't like your actions, there is something in your thought process that led you to taking those actions. If you don't like your outcomes, there's something in your thought process that is creating these outcomes to happen. So if we go back to fixing the way that we think, then it automatically affects everything else. And that can be the only change necessary in order to get to your outcomes. You change your thought process, it changes everything. When I changed my thought process from, to give you an example, I used to play sports. And what I was thinking about was creating success through sports. That was what I was thinking. That's what I would say to myself. That led to me taking certain actions like going to the gym every day and going to exposure events and marketing myself and trying to reach agents and going and playing on basketball teams. And the outcomes was I was playing basketball and I was aiming and striving for success as a professional athlete. Now, when I changed my mindset to I'm not going to play sports anymore, my mindset changed to I'm going to do this whole thing through business. I'm going to create success through being an entrepreneur and being a businessman. That's all I changed was the thought process. Well, what happens? I changed the way that I'm speaking to myself and I changed what I'm talking about and looking for. My attention and focus changed. That led to a change in actions. Even though I still work out, I'm not working out with the goal of competing professionally in a sport. I work out with the goal of staying in great shape. But at the same time, I added some other actions in where I basically reduced the amount of time I spent in the gym and increased the amount of time I spent on the computer or on the phone and doing business driven things as opposed to basketball driven things. All I did was change my thought process and everything else changed naturally as a result of the change in thinking. You understand? So this is why the thought process is always the foundation. So when we change our thought process, that changes how we talk, changes your attention, changes your focus, and it leads to actions that lead to outcomes. I want you to notice in this little formula that I'm giving you here, your thought process is the starting point of any outcome you want or anything you're currently dealing with, and any outcome you wish to have in the future. It all starts with thinking. Simple trick that I can let you know is to do these things in order in which I've given them to you. If you just follow them in the order that I said, I've gone over this 3 or 4 times already here in a few minutes. Follow them in this exact order. So anytime you want to make a change in your life, the first thing you need to do is assess the mentality that led you to where you are. Because we got to find out what was the thought process that led you to doing all the stuff that got you to where you're at right now. If you want to change it, let's figure out what thoughts led to this, because that's the foundation. Because your mindset will always have an effect on, again, the words, which leads to the attention and focus, then the actions and the outcomes. So if you change only the actions and your words and your thoughts don't change, that might be the entire problem. Your words and your thoughts might be the whole problem. Actions may not be anything wrong with your actions. You can take the exact same actions on Tuesday that you took on Monday, but if you change the mindset between Monday and Tuesday, then outcomes will change. When you do the same thing with a different energetic approach, you get a different outcome. Does everybody agree with that? That same thing with a different energetic approach leads to a different outcome. This is why we always come back to mindset. And the mentality, again, might be the only problem that you have. There's nothing wrong with your skill set, nothing wrong with your tools, nothing wrong with your resources. You have the intelligence, you have the ability. You're simply thinking about this in a way that is leading you to an outcome that you don't want. We change the thoughts and everything else will change on its own. Everybody understand this? And I cover this in depth, in extreme depth, in a way that you'll be able to understand and apply very quickly and easily, however, at the same time, inside my Bulletproof Mindset 2.0 program, which you can access in Work on Your Game University. So go to workonyourgameuniversity.com. Point number 3, today's topic, once again, is how to be in integrity with yourself. Number 3, only you can truly know if you are in full integrity or out of integrity with yourself. Only you really know. Now, you can have people around you who can help assess, and they can help hold you accountable and just make sure that you are not BSing yourself, at least to the best of their ability. But deep down, at the end of the day, when you're laying down in bed at night, you're the only person who truly knows if you're in integrity with yourself, because only you know what you're actually thinking. You can tell people what you're thinking, but you could be lying. Only you know what your attention and focus is really, because a lot of attention and focus is about what's going on in your head. It's not something, I can't measure your attention and your focus by looking at you. I don't really know what your attention and focus is on. I can look at your actions and make some assessments based on what you're doing. Usually we do things that are based on the way we're thinking and what we're focused on, but only you know the real answer, what you're really paying attention to, what you're really focused on. And again, you could tell people whatever you want, but you know the truth. You know the truth of what you're thinking, what your attention is on, and what your focus is, and what you really want. Only you know for sure. UCLA basketball coach John Wooden, legendary basketball coach. He coached the UCLA Bruins college basketball team back in the 60s and the 70s, and these teams were dominant. At one point, they won, I believe the number was 95 games in a row. And a college basketball season is only about 25 to 30 games. So understand, it was like 3 years straight they were undefeated, winning the championship, beating everybody. They had some of the best talent in the world. And John Wooden would say to his players, because it got to a point that the team was so good that they knew many times when they got on the court, before they got on the court, that they knew they were going to win simply because they were so much better than the teams they were playing against. And in college, there's often, depending on which teams there are, there can be a huge talent gap between team A and team B. Whereas in the professional level, any team can beat any team. Even the team with the worst record in the league can beat the team with the best record in the league on any given day in the pros. But in college level, that usually doesn't happen. So a college team can be so much better than another team that even if the better team plays a half-assed game and really gives no effort, they'll still win just because they're so much better than the opponents. And John Wooden understood this about his team, that they would be playing the teams against teams that they were completely overmatching these teams in terms of raw talent. So he told his players that because he knew and because they knew that sometimes they'd be playing against teams that they're going to beat no matter how hard they try, or if they didn't try at all, he would tell his players that the only way you are really a champion at the end of the game today, at the end of the day today, is if you know that you gave the best effort that you could give. Whether you played 5 minutes or you played 30, whether we won by 50 or we won by 100, like, only you know if you really gave your best effort today. And that's how you really know if you won the game or lost the game. Because again, he understood and he didn't try to hide it from his team. Like, okay, I don't know if he said it out loud, but he could tell by looking at the other team, looking at his team, all right, this other team has no chance of beating us, even if we don't try. So he had to come up with a way to motivate his own players besides let's win on the scoreboard, because they were going to win on the scoreboard. They can win on the scoreboard without really giving their best effort. But was that going to help his players develop for the future? Probably not. So he had to come up with a way to make sure that they gave their best effort, even though they were going to win with great effort or not. Only you know if you're truly in integrity or out of integrity with yourself. I'm coming back to you now. So only you know your innermost thoughts. Only you know every word you say. Only you know every time you lie to yourself. All right. Only you know the lies you've said to yourself. Now, again, you can lie to other people and they can't tell that you're lying because they don't know what's going on in your head, but you know. Other people may not be able to notice this. Other people can only see your actions and your outcomes, but they don't know about all of the other pieces of the equation. I mean, they know about it, or some people know about it. I know about it. But even though I know that thought process is the foundation of what leads to people's actions and outcomes, I can't read your mind. I can only go off of what you tell me, and I can measure what you do, but I have no idea what's going on in your head. And again, only you can tell me what's going on, but again, how do I know you're telling me the truth? Sometimes you are, sometimes you ain't. But you know the truth. And the thing is, even though other people can see your actions and they can see your outcomes, they don't know about these other pieces of the equation. And even then, most people are not paying so much attention to you as to notice every single thing that you're doing. But again, each one of us knows every single thing that we personally do. You know everything that the person in the mirror does every day. You know everything you think, you know everything you say to yourself, you know everything you are feeling, you know what you're paying attention to, you know what your focus is, you know all of it. Now, everybody can see your actions and outcomes, but only you know all of those elements. So only you can really answer the question of whether or not you are in integrity with yourself, because you know the whole story. So being in full integrity, folks, with yourself is an inside job. Nobody else is responsible for this. Like, even if you had a life coach or a trainer who's around you all the time, every day, they can't really tell you if you're in integrity with yourself, because they can't read your mind either. Right? There is no human who is capable of reading the minds of other humans. Therefore, being in integrity with yourself is always going to be an inside job until or unless some technology comes along, you can read other people's thoughts accurately. I don't think that's going to happen. Actually, I hope that it doesn't happen. I don't think we want to get that intrusive. At least I don't think so, but who knows? 100 years from now, maybe a different world. But the only person responsible for this is you. Holding yourself to your own integrity standards is your job. So the question you need to ask yourself is, are these externalities, meaning your actions and to a lesser extent your outcomes, are they a reflection of the things that you're thinking and things that you say to yourself? Does your life, your everyday behavior, is it a reflection of the things that you've been telling yourself? Yes or no? You know the full and truthful answer to this question. You need to be asking yourself this on the regular and making the necessary adjustments when you don't like the answer, or you don't want to lie to yourself and say, I am in integrity with myself, when you know that you're not. So this is about holding yourself accountable. Let's recap today's class, which is how to be in integrity with yourself. It is defined as the quality of being honest and having strong moral principles, also moral uprightness, and the state of being whole and undivided. Point number one, integrity is about being fully aligned in your thoughts, words, actions, and at least the aim towards your outcomes. And if you're aligned in the thoughts, words, and actions, eventually your outcomes are going to start looking just like the thoughts, words, and actions look. Number two, this is the reason why I always bring everything back to mindset, because mindset is the foundation. You want to change your outcomes, look at the mindset. You want to change your actions, look at your mindset. You want to change the way you're talking to yourself, look at your mindset. It all starts with mindset as the foundation. It is the ground floor. It is actually underneath the ground floor. It's in the foundation of the Earth's crust is what is going on in your mind, and everything else is built on top of that. So if you don't like what's on the top floor of your building, look at what is in the underneath the ground, the foundation, the mindset. Number three, only you can truly know if and when you are fully in integrity, or in any way out of integrity with yourself, because only you know your innermost thoughts, and you are the one who hears every word that you say. So only you know when you're actually telling yourself a lie. Nobody else can really know that. I mean, someone can suspect it, they can ask you, but only you know the truth, because only you can read your mind. And actually, you don't have to read your mind. You're writing your mind and reading it at the same time. You get what I'm saying there? So this being in integrity with yourself is an inside job that is fully your responsibility. It's about holding yourself accountable. Am I doing the things that I'm telling myself that I'm going to do, or am I letting myself off the hook? That said, text me. See you on my text community. Numbers down below in the description. And if you want to have my direct help, you want to get access to our 30 Days to Discipline program, ASAP Confidence program, our 25 hours program, our Bulletproof Mindset program, which I mentioned earlier, go to workonyourgameuniversity.com. Work on your game. Dre, all